It's entitled, I'm exhausted. I'm bored being married to Mr. Perfect. I wish he would cheat so I could feel better about myself. It was published about a month ago by a Claire O'Reilly, who is a 40-year-old woman married to a 46-year-old man named John. Been married for 13 years, been together for 17 years total. Now, right off the bat, she's already given herself away as a wife who's cheated on her husband. Gentlemen, it is plainly obvious. I am damn near 100% certain that she has, on more than one occasion, cheated on her husband. People who feel guilty for getting away with certain things always secretly wish that karma, which, by the way, there's no such thing as, but karma would come in and, come into play and right all their wrongs and bring balance back to the universe. Perfectly normal feeling, just like it's perfectly normal to want whatever balance comes your way to be the type of balance that's on the same level as you wrong. So, for example, if you stole $10 from somebody and you got away with it and you felt guilty, you'd wish that somebody would steal $10 from you. Or if you accidentally dented someone's car when you opened your door at the grocery store, you'd wish that maybe the same thing would happen to you. Simple math. But what you wouldn't wish for is someone to steal your life savings because you got away with stealing $10 from somebody else. You wouldn't want someone to rear end you at 50 miles an hour to right the wrong of a small dent caused by your door. This woman said, I wish he'd cheat so I can feel better about myself, and literally gave away the fact that she cheated on her husband. It would be different if she got away with buying things without his permission, or if she told little white lies about this or that, or if she said she cleaned the oven when she really hired somebody else to do it. Just little stuff like that. No, this woman goes all the way and says that she wished that he would cheat on her to make her feel better about herself. Now, she's doing this because she cheated on her husband multiple times. No woman has ever said, I'm such a lazy wife. I never clean up. I'm bad at laundry, and I never iron his clothes. Gee, I wish he'd cheat on me to make me feel better about the fact that I'm a lazy homemaker. No. She'd wish that he were more of a slob or left his clothes on the floor. So right out of the gate, she's already revealed to us, to those in the know, that she is a cheating wife. So let's go ahead and get started here. Now that we've already accurately dissected at least the title, it says, quote, most single women are searching for Mr. Perfect, right? But maybe a little imperfection is better. Writer Claire O'Reilly, 40, from Plymouth, is married John, 46, 13 years ago, but he has not put a foot on the wrong side since. Today, in a startlingly honest piece, Claire realizes why she is frustrated being married to Mr. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, scroll down here. She begins, quote, I should have gotten an inkling of my husband's perfect moral fiber when we were dating back in 2002. I called in sick to work, she says, planning to surprise him as he worked from home. However, when I turned up with the thoughts of a long, lazy romantic lunch, he refused to ditch his responsibilities, even though we were supposed to be in the first throes of love. I married Mr. Perfect anyway. But his ridiculous moral compass has come to be a bone of contention. Simply put, I'm bored of being married to a paragon of virtue. He is so unlike me, it's disarming, but turns out I'm not alone. New research from the University of Amsterdam has found while it's beneficial in Mother Nature for species to be similar, it is not as straightforward when it comes to humans. So she says, I married Mr. Perfect anyway. When she says she married him anyway, she is telling us in no uncertain terms that men with strong moral fiber are not arousing to her. Guys, she is not sexually attracted to her husband anymore. She was when they first met. But as soon as he told her, I will not cancel my plans to spend an afternoon eating food and having sex with you because I am a man of my word and my word is my bond. No, she married him anyway, which says that she didn't want to because he is attractive rather than arousing. Remember the difference? We talked about that last week. But because he was attractive and listen, she took the plunge anyway, knowing full well knowing full well she'd be cheating on him before the ink dried on their marriage certificate. She knew that she would achieve alpha fucks, beta bucks. Then she says, I'm bored being married to a paragon of virtue. Guys, this just goes to show that what women say they want and what they actually want are two very, very different things. Every woman says they want to be married to a paragon of virtue because it makes them look like paragons of virtue. Like attracts like, right? She can't say, well, I want the tatted up underground boxer with a criminal record who may or may not have a warrant for his arrest, because that makes her look like a virtueless slut. So to save face, they say they want a man who's honest. To save face, they say they want a man who's virtuous. They say they want a man who has great moral character and fiber. They don't really want that. At least not as long as they can still attract those bad boys. They only become attracted to these boring paragons of virtue when they run out of options, just like Sheryl Sandberg so accurately predicts in her advice to young women when it comes to their dating lives. Then she talks about this study at the University of Amsterdam about species. And listen, this is the non-factor. Yes, species being similar benefits Mother Nature, but the difference between humans and every other species is we as humans, we have the ability to reason. The fact that this Amsterdam study didn't scrap the whole thing for that very reason just goes to show that this was a useless study by useless people. But for the sake of argument, let's take a look at what the study revealed, shall we? The study, she says, looked at the personality traits of 4,464 couples and found agreeableness, a trait associated with trust and empathy, in both partners is vital for a relationship to succeed. But researchers also found that when one partner is contentious, the coupling can actually work better if the other is less so. I think conscientious. I said contentious. Conscientious. That's me being illiterate. Anyway, which may go some way in explaining why John and I have lasted so long. After a small prang in the car a few years ago, our insurance company informed us that we were entitled to sue the other driver for injuries amounting to around 6,000 British pounds. As neither one of us was injured, John refused to take on the elderly driver despite the figures at play because it would be dishonest. It's not just big issues either. I am the queen, she says, of the last-minute cancellation, thinking nothing of scrapping dinner arrangements with friends just hours before we are due, whereas John sticks to his commitment. Let's go back to what she says about opposites. She says when one partner is conscientious, the coupling can actually work better if the other is less. So, one thing we preach here in the Manosphere is that relationships should have polarity. In other words, if you have too much in common, as far as personality traits and habits goes with your significant other, it's not going to work as well as if you have traits that are diametrically opposed to one another. I'll give you the perfect example. Devin and I. Listen, Devin and I could not be more different. I'm an extrovert. She's an introvert. She's laid back. I'm intense. I am freakishly disciplined. She is freakishly not. I'm an early riser. She likes to sleep in. I like to talk. She likes to listen. Guys, we could not be more different as people, but we work because of the polarity. If she were as intense and as socially dominant as I was, we wouldn't work because we're too much alike. We'd probably fight a lot. We'd probably yell and scream all the time. It just wouldn't work. Well, same as on the other end. If I were as docile and laid back and like to sleep in like she did, nothing would ever get done. Ever. We'd be as boring a couple as they come, and we'd bore each other to death. That wouldn't work either. Then she says she is the queen of the last-minute cancellation. Devin's the same way, right? Now, in a different vein, she'll offer to do something or go somewhere to be nice, but when these people actually take her up on it and the time comes to do what she said she was going to do, she has a tendency to want to back out. I do not let her do that, okay? She's actually got a friend right now going through a really bad breakup. And her friend and hers, actually a story I told last week. There's a friend of her at work. She was engaged to be married She was with this guy for 8 years. Her best friend stole her fiance, and now her best friend lives with her ex-fiance in their house. They've got animals, and she's afraid that they're not being taken care of, right? So now she's afraid that she might have to rehome her pets. Well, Devin told her she might be able to do it, but I said no. Devin. Don't tell people you're going to do something if you're not willing to do it. She says, well, I was just doing it to be nice. Yeah. But when they take you up on it, then what happens? Now, this isn't as much about lack of moral fiber as it is about women wanting to be nice and ease someone's burden or pain, someone they care about, or saying whatever they have to make someone else feel better right then and there. This isn't a bad thing morally, right? Devin just wants to help. But by the same token, if you know you're not going to be able to do something, then do not commit to it. Devin is selfless to a fault, and it gets her in trouble a lot. But the point is that being the queen of the last minute cancellation, that is indicative of the female gender as a whole. This is just what they do. Men stick to their word, women do not.